Dagon was one of the most prominent deities in the ancient Near East, widely worshipped by several Semitic peoples, including the Canaanites, Philistines, and Mesopotamians. His name is often associated with grain or corn, indicating his strong connection to agriculture and fertility. As a god of fertility, Dagon was seen as the provider of bountiful harvests, ensuring the prosperity and survival of the communities that worshipped him. However, his significance extended beyond the realms of agriculture, as Dagon was also revered as a protector, a god of rain, and, in some traditions, even a deity associated with the sea. In the context of the Canaanite and Philistine pantheons, Dagon was often depicted as a powerful deity who controlled the elements vital for life. His primary role as the god of agriculture meant that he was deeply linked to the fertility of the land, making him central to the well-being of the ancient communities. The success of crops, the health of livestock, and the overall prosperity of the people were all seen as gifts granted by Dagon. For a largely agrarian society, the favor of such a god was essential for survival. The worship of Dagon was particularly prominent in the city of Ashdod, one of the 5 Philistine cities. The Philistines, who were known for their conflicts with the Israelites, viewed Dagon as their chief god, and his cult was an integral part of their religious life. In the Bible, Dagon is frequently mentioned as the deity whom the Philistines worshipped, especially in the context of their military victories. One of the most famous biblical stories involving Dagon is the account of the capture of the Ark of the Covenant by the Philistines. When the Philistines placed the Ark in the temple of Dagon, they found that the statue of Dagon had fallen to the ground and was destroyed, symbolizing the superiority of the Israelite god over the Philistine deity. 1 Samuel 5. This story underscores the tension between the worship of Dagon and the rise of Yahweh worship in ancient Israel. Dagon's role in the Philistine world was not just limited to agriculture. He was also considered a god of protection and military victory. In several ancient inscriptions, Dagon is invoked in times of war, with the belief that his favor would ensure the success of the Philistine armies. His association with the sea and maritime culture further solidified his importance as a protector deity, as the Philistines were a seafaring people. Ships, trade, and coastal settlements depended on the stability of the seas, and Dagon was seen as a god who could control the waters, ensuring safe voyages and bountiful catches. The iconography of Dagon also reflects his complex nature as both a fertility god and a deity with martial associations. He is often depicted as a human figure with the lower body of a fish, which is a representation of his connection to both the land and the sea. This hybrid form speaks to the dual aspects of Dagon's character: his power over the land, ensuring fertile crops, and his dominion over the sea, guaranteeing protection and prosperity for those who depended on the water. While Dagon's worship was widespread in the ancient Near East, his significance was particularly pronounced among the Philistines. Archaeological evidence from the Philistine cities, including Ashdod, reveals numerous statues and inscriptions dedicated to Dagon. These findings point to the central role he played in the religious and cultural identity of the Philistine people. Temples dedicated to Dagon were built, where rituals and offerings were made to seek his favor. The offerings often included grain, as well as other symbols of fertility and abundance. Dagon's role as a fertility and agricultural god was not unique to the Philistines. In the broader context of ancient Semitic religions, deities associated with the earth, rain, and fertility were essential to the agricultural way of life. Dagon was part of this larger religious tradition, where gods of agriculture were seen as responsible for ensuring the prosperity of the land and the continued survival of the people. Over time, as the influence of monotheistic religions like Judaism and Christianity spread, the worship of Dagon and other ancient gods gradually faded. The Philistines were eventually absorbed into the larger empires of the ancient world, and their religious practices diminished. However, the legacy of Dagon and his role in Canaanite and Philistine religion continues to be a fascinating chapter in the history of ancient spirituality. Through the myths, stories, and archaeological remains, we can glimpse a world where the gods were intimately connected to the natural world and the struggles of daily life, where deities like Dagon played crucial roles in the survival, prosperity, and identity of entire civilizations. Today, Dagon serves as a symbol of the ancient relationship between humanity and the forces of nature, embodying the reverence for the elements that sustain life, whether it be through the fertility of the land, the protection of the seas, or the victory in battle. Though his worship has long since faded, Dagon's influence on the cultures of the ancient Near East is still felt in the archaeological and mythological records that continue to intrigue scholars and historians alike.